Jesus doesn't reject Peter for denying him or for comparing himself. He just says, hey, come follow me. Like, don't worry about this. Just come follow me. Hey, welcome to Going Deeper. This is the podcast here at Full Life where we kind of recap our Sunday morning experience and talk about, just go a little deeper into what we were talking about. And we actually did a panel discussion from our Ecuador team coming back. We were with the Marbut family, the Richardsons, the Merediths, some amazing missionaries that are there in Sacua, Ecuador, and reaching the unreached and helping those that can't always help themselves. And it's just an amazing team. Joel and Leah have been really mentors to Brittany and I, and it's always a life-giving experience when we get to go and hang out with them. And so many cool moments. I think probably the coolest moment for me was my first mission trip ever when I was 15 years old was actually to Ecuador with Joel and Leah, which was many years ago. Should I say I shouldn't say how many years. It was many years ago.
Make you feel old.
Make you feel real old. Yeah. on the trip, everybody thought I was way older than I actually was. So I don't know how to take that, if it was a compliment or if it was a diss at my bald head. But it was just an amazing trip. And one of the cool parts was, I think it took us over 30 hours to get into the jungle. Where the guys team was at, where the girls were doing the VBS there in the village. But we were driving. We were in the boat going upriver, and we kept pointing. They kept pointing to different places, and there's like, hey, that's the river that goes to this village. That's the river that goes to that village. Or, hey, this is that village that you guys did this in. And our church has partnered with this Ecuador team of missionaries for many years. And to be able to see churches planted in all these places and still growing and life-giving and reaching other villages is just such a cool thing. There's so many stories, so many cool stories of witch doctors giving their lives to Christ, and girls who come into the girls' home, have their lives radically transformed, and then actually open up doors for us to reach other villages. And so, like, I know we only get like a small part to play for like 1 week or 2 weeks whenever we go on these trips, but it's just like cool to be able to say that we played a small part in what's taking place. But I know that was kind of the big theme from our team, was planting seeds and being okay with planting seeds versus having to see the harvest or having to see the impact. I think is so important.
I know when you go on many different mission trips over times, like we have, every mission trip is different, and every mission trip, God reveals something new to you and reveals something new that you get to participate in. And so it's so cool that you were able to see, like, over the years, like, here are all the places that I've had a part. And you really only get to see that if you go on multiple missions trips, and get to go to the same place over and over again and see the fruit, because otherwise it is planting the seed. And that's sometimes a difficult thing, to plant the seed, because you put it in the dirt, you cover it up, and you can't see it anymore. And so we go on these week-long trips and plant the seeds, and then you don't get to see if anything's happening anymore until you come back. But even in the Bible it says, like, and many leaders in the Bible even didn't get to see the fruit of the harvest and the seeds that they planted, but it was all working for God's glory and God's purpose. And
well, there's something about persistence when it comes to that. There's a pastor, his name's Pastor Lucho, and he actually had gone on 6 different trips into this village, Santa Rosa, where we got to build this church. And at every trip, he led somebody else to the Lord. And so when we dedicated the church, there were 6 Christians, 6 believers, and all the family and all the others, like, surrounding them, like, coming and being a part
shows
of this.
that it doesn't need a big number to have a church.
Right. No, that's true. But I think the biggest part of it to me that showed me, like, this should be an encouragement to us when we have family members or when we have people that are close to us that are far from God. And sometimes we feel like we're trying to be persistent, we're trying to show them Jesus, or we're trying to, like, convert them, or all the things. But just, like, showing up again and again, consistently and persistently, being Jesus to people, that's what shows them who he is. And that was such I'm thinking about different families in our own church who have children that are far from God, that are hurt, that are desperate.
And I think it speaks to, when he sees those people get saved in the jungle, when we see those things happen on mission trips, we talk about the persistence, and like when you have people here in your life, like even once you see them saved, it takes time and persistence to continue to love them, for discipleship to take place, for relationships to continue to grow. And it goes back to, going low, going slow, loving the one in front of you, and love looking like different things for different people and in different seasons. And when you're there for all of it, it's hard. Yeah. Like when you are actively loving someone and trying to win them over for the Lord, or being with them after they've been won to the Lord through all their struggles, because everything isn't just perfect when you accept the Lord. Right. There's still struggles. And if you have someone in your life that's loving you through all of that, you are truly blessed. Yeah. And we all get to be that in someone else's life, whether it's someone that walks through the doors of the church or whether it's someone in your family. Yeah. You get to show up and show that love consistently and persistently, because it is going to take persistence in doing that for sure.
Absolutely. And again, I go back to something that Joel said, and I think it's something for a lot of us to chew on. Again, we talk about saying yes, giving God our yes, and oftentimes, I've been in the services and I've led some of the services where it's like, everybody repeat this prayer after me and accept Jesus into your heart. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we have to recognize that it's an invitation to follow him, and that when Jesus, when the kindness of the Holy Spirit leads us to repentance, and when we draw near to him and he draws near to us, there's this invitation to follow me. It's not just an invitation to believe in me, and believe that I'm your Savior, but it's more than that. It's come follow me, come and do life with me, and give your life to me. And I think it's so important that we stop focusing on trying to just get people saved. And although that's important, sometimes we get people saved and then we just go, okay, you're on your own now. And that's why we have so many people who they gave their life to Jesus, but then they very quickly turn away from him, because it's like, I don't even see the pathway. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to follow or how my life should be lived. And so I think it's so important in that consistency of trying to reach people within our own lives. Just let them, instead of saying, you have to believe this or you have to do this, it's an invitation just to say, hey, just come follow me as I'm following Jesus.
They're on their own journey. They got to figure some things out for themselves, but you can be that voice to say, this is what God's done in my life. You can at least learn from that, if nothing else. Yeah. I did want to point on one thing, since we were talking about the love piece. A huge moment for a lot of the girls was when we were talking with one of the missionaries, and she was saying the girls in this Hope House, the girls that have been rescued from abuse or trafficking or just, physically not so great circumstances or need an education, all these girls that are living at the Hope House, she said, these girls have seen power. Like, they don't need you to come in and be like, God is almighty and he's got all the power and you should believe in him or it's going to go bad.
They've seen
witchcraft. They've seen darkness. They've seen demonic. They've seen all kinds of power. Some of the girls that were even there had brothers and dads who were witch doctors. Like, they've seen the power, the dark power, not the right power, but still power. So when you show them power, they're like, okay, so... Like, just similar to, in the Bible when Moses was showing the power of God and Pharaoh's, Pharaoh's magicians and stuff and advisors were doing all of these things too. They were operating in power, and he's like, so? Right? It took some time to get that through, but the real thing that brings that change and brings that breaking is when you show them power with love. Yeah. And that love is what breaks them down. Like, the hardest, darkest soul and heart can be broken down when there's the power of God's love. Yeah. And that was a huge impact for us to realize when we come in and we think we're doing all this stuff by, we're building a church, we're doing VBS, we're painting, like we're making a difference. No, that's not what's making the difference necessarily. All those things help. Yeah. It's really doing everything through the love of Christ. Hey, I'm here to love on you. Hey, I'm here to smile at you. I'm here to, just sit and braid your hair or whatever. Like, those girls have seen power, but they haven't always seen love. Yeah. And that makes a huge difference. Yeah. And again, with that love showing up again and again. And again, missions isn't just a missions trip. It should be our lifestyle. It should be. And some of those girls have gone back to their villages because they didn't have opportunity for other things. Like they try to help them get furthering education. They try to help them get jobs, but some girls choose either to go back for their families or just because they don't know what else to do. And they end up in the same situations that they started in. And that is so heartbreaking for the missionaries and for us who love them and want better for them.
Yeah.
But if we can send them back, if that's the choice that they make, being strong with love, that love, they can continue to show up even in those circumstances, because the love of Jesus is not about our circumstances. So even if they go back to those same circumstances and abuse and neglect, like, they can show love in that difficult time, and they can be the ones that change their community. And that applies to us as well. Like, just because your circumstances don't look great here, just because you got saved and now things are falling apart, it doesn't mean you walk away. It doesn't mean that your life gets better or you suddenly get all these amazing opportunities and all your dreams come true. It means that you have the dreams of the Lord and the passion of the Lord to go in whatever circumstances you're in with love.
I love it. I was going to circle back to the invitation and kind of what we landed on during our service on Sunday, where Peter is actually given 3 different invitations to come and follow. There's the initial invitation where it's like, hey, come follow me, drop your nets, and I'm going to make you fishers of men, and it's really an invitation to let go of your past. And then, years go by, 3 years go by, Jesus is taken, they're getting ready to crucify him, and Peter denies him 3 times, and the resurrection takes place, and Peter's right back in the boat where he was, possibly on the Sea of Galilee, or I think it was on the Sea of Galilee, and Jesus shows up again, invites him to come and follow me, and really asks him to do everything his way now. Like, hey, you're giving up your past, but you're going to give up your future now too. You're going to give up everything to come follow me, and it's burn the boats essentially, and burn the idea of what fills you with passion or gets you excited. Come and follow me. And then he jumps on board, following Jesus, but then there's comparison. Then there's looking at his present circumstances, like you're kind of talking about, and Jesus, he makes some comment about, what about John, what about this disciple, and Jesus, like, what's it to you what I do with John? Just follow me here and now. Like, don't compare. And it's such a cool thing that Jesus doesn't reject Peter for not following him. Jesus doesn't reject Peter for denying him or for comparing himself. He just says, hey, come follow me. Like, don't worry about this. Just come follow me. And even in the denial, even in the comparison, he still makes that invitation, and he makes that invitation to us. It's so important for us to see that and recognize that, just because we fall, just because we fail, just because we're in our flesh for whatever reason, the invitation is there for us to follow him. And it was a cool wrap up yesterday, and we can kind of wrap up this podcast with that. But there are many of us who are still holding on to our past, our present, and our future.
Or at least some aspect of it.
Some aspect of it that we're choosing not to trust God. We're choosing not to follow Jesus in the process. And it's a slow journey that many of us are on with Jesus, because we're dragging our past, our present, and our future, rather than laying it at his feet and just start running. Right. And that's my hope. That's my prayer for us as a church, is that in this season, in this hour, we would just begin to run. We would begin to be filled with his love and be consistent and persistent in reaching people, and be consistent and persistent in following him and giving him our yes and our obedience. One of the things that I talked to a guy from the Chattanooga team about was, what does it look like to actually walk in grace and walk in like God's like real love and real power? And I was just like, man, when you are so in love with Jesus that he is the one that fills every part of your soul, every part of your heart, where the passions of this world are no longer satisfy, where the going all out in your flesh, or the fasting, or all these different kind of aspects, like when all of that other stuff in your life, the temptations that may come your way, when all that stuff like no longer phases you, because the grace of God and his love for you has so been lavished upon you, and you're walking in that access and that sonship, when you fully are following him, it's just this beautiful thing where it's like temptation is not what it used to be, because I'm just so locked in on Jesus. Like the things that used to get me really excited, and I'd chase after all this stuff to fulfill my heart, like it doesn't hit like it used to, because I'm so in love with Jesus and I'm so focused on him. And then when we can live in that place, like everything that I do, everything that I say is just an outpouring and an outflow of my relationship with him. Like that's the grace that I want for so many of our people, and so many of our people in our church, especially, that we would fully walk in the access that we have to God, and the grace that he's given us, the love that he's given us, because it really truly does change and transform everything. That there would be a metamorphosis of our life and lifestyle, where the world just can't touch us because we're so locked in on Jesus. And that's my prayer. That's my hope in this season. So anyways, going deeper, thanks for being a part. Did you want to say something else?
No,
you're good?
I'm good.
All right. Thanks for being a part. So grateful for this church, for Full Life, and everything going on. And this Sunday, we're getting back into Ephesians, and we're getting into the second half of Ephesians 3, and it's gonna rock some people's world. So really excited. Thanks for watching.